Hey there, my name is Trent, and I'm passionate about all things pop culture with emphasis on Star Wars and, let's say, comic books.
So you said everything sort of pop culture, but mainly Star Wars. What was it that got you into Star Wars?
Well, I grew up in Devon. Believe it or not, Devon used to have a movie theater. And my best friend and his dad took us to see Star Wars in Devon. Must have been probably the fall of '77.
Oh, so you saw the Star Wars when it first came out?
Yeah, in a Devon theater.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have been, 7 years old.
It blew your mind?
Well, big time. Never saw anything like it. I'm like, what is this that I'm seeing? And after the movie, that's all I could think about for weeks.
And then the toys came out soon after?
Several months, actually. It took a while. They were quite a ways behind when the movie was released to when the kids could get some toys. So
well, they probably didn't know how the film would do, whether it would be popular or not.
Well, exactly. So we were stuck with coloring books and jigsaw puzzles and board games until the actual toys came out.
And so 7 or 8 years old, that's the perfect age to get into toys like that. So do you remember your first Star Wars toy?
Yeah, I think there was an R2-D2 and a C-3PO, and that would have been, I think, my 7th birthday.
Wow. And then that became, and I notice you've got like some collectibles here. You've got, you know, graphic novels, Walking Dead, and some Superman stuff and Spider-Man mixed in there. And cassette, are these, oh no, those are cards. Yeah. You just put them in cassette cases to keep them safe. Or no, those are card holders. Yeah. I got to stop talking. I'll just let you figure things out. So are those sealed packages of trading cards?
Yeah. And, excuse me. Yeah, again, just pop culture stuff I really liked as a kid. Obviously Superman, Battlestar Galactica, Tron.
Right, so this
Indiana Jones, E.T.
Sort of a sample of the things you collect. But now you kind of gave me a sneak peek, but this isn't your collection, really.
No, I've got a couple more pieces that I keep in a different room. They wouldn't all fit on a shelf this size.
Well, let's head in there. Let's have a look.
Sure. Let's see what we might have in this room.
Oh my gosh. This is like every kid's dream from 1980. You've got and these are carded unpunched, meaning that some of these haven't even been
unpunched yet.
Yeah, they never had. So when you see a card that's unpunched, that means that whoever had this at the store, for whatever reason, they didn't use the rack like this. Normally those holes are meant to go through a hook just like that. Yeah. And if you find them unpunched, that's super rare. Look at you with this. Holy cow.
Yeah. So yeah, they may have just been in like a store display where they just sit kind of in a cardboard display, and they didn't have to hang them. So yeah, wow. I'd say maybe a quarter of what I have is unpunched from my vintage toys from the late 70s to mid 80s.
And look at all of them on the original cards and packages. We have some regular contributors to our channel who are really big into Star Wars, and this would probably blow their mind. But I have a question for you. Why do I see two of the same figure? What's going on there with the two Lando Calrissians?
Well, when they're vintage and you see a good deal, doubles are not an issue.
Oh, okay.
And all then right. You have something to trade maybe in the future. You're looking for something. You have something someone is looking for. Always opportunities for trades.
Now, did you come across it? Oh, you do. You have the little, this guy, that's a Jawa with the vinyl cape. That is the rarest of the Jawas, is it not?
Technically, that one is a reproduction cape.
Ah, okay.
And the reason I know that is because I only paid $14 for it.
Right. You know, I had one of those once. Somebody brought in a box of Star Wars figures from their childhood, and one of those was rattling around at the bottom with the original cape on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was so neat. But I mean, I'm just in awe. So you don't have just the 1970s and 80s. It kind of goes all the way up.
Yep, for sure. So started collecting again in I guess must have been around 95 when Kenner released again Star Wars toys. So that actually got me started collecting again. And at that point, went into the archives, found like a lot of these toys are from when I was actually a kid.
So are these yours that you've hung on to all this time?
Actually, these two boxes, which is obviously that guy and
Right.
that guy. Those were Christmas gifts from when I was a kid. This one was, I think, Christmas is 79.
And you kept the original packaging for them after
Yeah.
all those years.
Yeah, it's in a real crappy condition, but
Hey, you still have
but
it.
it's boxed and it's mine, and definitely nostalgia for sure.
And when you're talking about the 1990s stuff, you're kind of talking about like this sort of era, or
Yeah,
is that even a little newer?
So you would see, I'd say these two walls, the two outside walls,
Yeah.
from 95 to current. Like, there's a few up here that I've bought within the last several months.
Okay.
But I call it modern, even though it's like, you know, what's 1995? That's 25, 30 years.
I was going to
Not
say
quite.
when I first walked in, I thought, well, you must be the reason why Toys R Us stayed in business for so long in Canada. But wow, what a collection. And so I guess, you know, as we look around the walls and we see all these fantastic figures, and I noticed that some of them have, you know, Kmart tags. Now, do you kind of buy from all over US and Canada?
Yep, for sure. Whether it's toy shows or online. I don't really buy much from eBay, but I know early in my collecting, there's it's still a current store in the States, Brian's Toys. And early in my collecting in the 90s, I was getting a lot of these from probably that one spot.
Okay, great.
But again, the Antique Mall in Old Strathcona, actually I probably scored a good 10 or 15, like within a few weeks. A vendor there had just kept bringing them in, so I just kept buying them. And that would have been late 90s.
So what's your favorite, sort of out of the original series, what's your favorite figure that you have?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to go with my favorite character.
Okay.
Which would be Chewbacca. And
Chewbacca, there you go.
This is a really nice one. Also unpunched. This is like one of my most mintiest cards. A little dent on the bubble, but
Perfect shape.
nice clear bubble, and like just a really good looking card.
So when you hold a toy like that in your hand, does it take you right back to 77, 78?
Oh, for sure.
You feel like that kid?
Like, yeah. You know, takes a lot not to just rip these open.
Oh, I bet.
But
You'd regret it in the morning and go on a binge of opening stuff. A bender.
For sure. But it's
I mean, it's such a tremendous collection. I see. Are these mail-aways in the little plastic?
yeah. So those the ones in the baggies that they came in all different ways. Some were mail away. Some would have been pack-in figures with
Right.
play sets.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. So if you bought like the ship that maybe went along with that character.
Yeah, it would have came with a packing guy in a baggie. Yeah, for the most part, they all came in baggies in the old days. But when I got this guy back in the day, it came with 2 stormtroopers. They were actually both carded. I remember that.
Well, they came on the card.
Yeah, but I opened it, obviously.
And this Death Star set's fairly rare, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so this was just released in Canada with the Kenner logo.
Yeah.
But in the UK, they have Palitoy, which is basically the UK version of Kenner. So yeah, it was released in the UK as well.
But not with the Kenner labeling on it.
No, it would have had Palitoy. Yeah.
And I don't imagine a lot of these would have survived because really it's just a cardboard playset. I'm not going to touch it and poke it, but you can see even yours has a couple little stress marks on it from play. And
this has been taken apart, put back together. It's had road trips to Saskatchewan and back.
And moved all around.
Used to live. And,
oh, so you take it with you on holidays.
yeah, and actually the year I got this, we were in northeastern Saskatchewan for Christmas.
Oh, so that was under the tree that year.
Yeah.
You must have been excited.
Yeah, that was that's a awesome memory, that's for sure.
And so we get through the Kenner and then you get into the 1990s stuff. And I noticed kind of as I look around that you even have gotten some of the Star Wars Lego as well.
Yeah, but actually got a pretty good sampling of the Lego from some of these sets were the first ones they released. I believe this would have been one of the first Star Wars sets.
And you can tell because they have the yellow heads, right?
Yeah, they still got the yellow heads, and you can tell
as they got on and they got newer, they replaced the traditional yellow sort of plastic head with flesh tone in various shades.
Yeah, and I believe down on the floor.
Oh gosh, I got to be careful where I'm walking.
More modern Lego sets.
Right, and you know, for people that are at home watching and they go, well, I can't believe people collect Lego. You'd be surprised to know that if you went to a garage sale or a yard sale and you found a box of Lego, but there was instructions for early Star Wars sets, if you reassemble them, some of them can be worth hundreds, if not more. I think the Cloud City Lego set's quite valuable, is it not?
That I don't know for sure, but
I remember
quite a few of the sets definitely are.
Oh, they can definitely go up in value, yeah. And you've got, you know, some plush. I mean, everywhere I look,
just something a bit different. Like these 6 pictures were from the 1980s Star Wars fan club.
Oh, okay. So were you part of the fan club at that time?
I had an older brother. He joined me up. Yeah, and actually, a few of these items were from my older brother because he was 6 years older, so he wasn't as much into the toys, but he'd be buying
the blueprints,
the artwork, portfolios.
Right, I've seen that blueprint set. That's like if these were a real Death Star, that's the blueprints for how it'd be built.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy that they hired like a drafter, an engineer to come up with these like actual plans. I wonder if you could take those blueprints and build something with them.
I don't know.
Take him into a shop.
Trying a droid, maybe.
Yeah, try a droid.
That'll work.
Take it into a local machine shop. I need you to rough this out for me. Eh?
yeah, exactly. Just a one-off.
Wow, I mean, you know, and looking around and seeing the depth of your collection, we've even got the books. And Star Wars, did it start off as a book series and then it was adapted, or was it a movie first? I can't remember.
Just original screenplay, all from George Lucas's mind to a script, and
right.
Yeah, and eventually he edited it enough to make one movie and see what would happen after that.
And that was I guess it was the sequels came out in book form first. Like the original movies came out and then eventually they wrote some books.
Yeah, they had a lot of books, but none of them were really adapted to the 3 prequels or even the sequels, the Disney ones.
Right, and so as a Star Wars fan, what do you think of the new series and the new movies?
I like Rogue One.
You liked Rogue One, okay, but the jury's out on the new stuff?
Yeah, it's very hit and miss, especially the Disney Plus. You know, without going too deep into it or getting all negative. Just some things story-wise, I'm not really thrilled about.
Right, because the original Star Wars was kind of gritty, and it was, you know, there was the fear of death and drama, and there wasn't Baby Yodas.
No, it's just a lot more like just pure adventure kind of thing.
But there was Ewoks in that third one. Yeah,
and you know what? The further removed you are from the 1983 movie, the less and less you hate Ewoks.
That's right, yeah. And even an Ewok could kill you.
Yeah, they killed a lot of people.
That's right.
They're pretty savage.
They're savage. They're handy with getting logs up on ropes and swinging them around at things. So
yeah. Oh, exactly right.
Yeah. No, well, I mean,
but I was reading. Most of these novels, they just kind of tides you over. Like after 1983, there weren't any more movies. But if you're still into Star Wars, what are you going to do? Start reading?
Start reading, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I guess I see you've got the glasses. Now, where would you have picked these up originally? Like, what were they?
So originally, these were all Burger King. So they released 4 for each movie.
Okay.
And then just over the years, again, a lot of the Star Wars stuff I collect isn't necessarily high-end expensive, but it's just stuff I really liked.
Of the air. And those are real glass. That's not plastic. Yeah. They were giving out actual glasses to children with greasy little mitts.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, and it took me quite a few years to get all 12. Actually, a really good friend of mine, he's a collector also. The last 2 I needed for my collection, he gifted them to me just a couple of Christmases ago. So, he helped me finish off my collection of 12 glasses, and that was pretty awesome.
Wow, that's tremendous. And I noticed the comics as well.
Yeah.
And you've got some pretty important ones, like the very first Star Wars comic right there.
Yeah, so we've got the first issues 1 to 6, which tells the story of the first movie. And then, a few others. There's the first issue for Empire Strikes Back, and then the last issue of the run. 107 issues total.
In the last issue, look, they've got Lando Calrissian there with like a pink shirt and hey baby, how's it going? And a cigar in his hand.
Looks like I think Chewie's grabbing his butt or something.
Yeah, Luke has lost his sleeves.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember Mark Hamill being that buff in that movie, but hey.
No.
So it morphed a little bit more true to form in the first. And that's a good, valuable comic book, and yours looks to be in very nice condition as well.
Yeah, not too bad, for sure.
So would you ever consider sending any of these out to go get graded? And
potentially. Some of the keys for sure. But yeah, grading, of course, that's a whole... expense on its own.
It is, and
start trying to grade.
Were these yours when you were a kid?
No, I do have. I've got the entire run down there.
Oh, I see. Do you? So you have another one in there?
Just I have a number one reprint in there.
Oh, okay.
But so that's basically all 107 other than these. So some of them were from when I was a kid, but most of these I picked up in the early 90s. I was initially, when I started collecting again, I was collecting both comic books and Star Wars. So
and so what other comic books did you collect?
The usual Spidey, Superman, Batman, but some runs that I like to collect that aren't say as common. Devil Dinosaur is a good one.
Okay.
Rom Space Knight.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Alpha Flight, which is a good Canadian superhero group.
Okay.
Not the most popular comic book out there, which is why I'm able to probably finish that run at minimal expense.
And no Captain Canucks in the mix?
No, I don't have any. But
the Canadian superhero?
I've seen them around.
Oh, that's I have to watch where I go, because look up by my head. There's ships in the air, and there's this beautiful row of cans, which you just hate to accidentally bump and knock over.
Oh, for sure. And and that's another thing. The cans are so common, and everyone could get them if they wanted them. But a buddy of mine found the cardboard display right beside a dumpster. So he brought it to work and said, "Hey, do you want this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome."
It's perfect. Yeah, collect all 20 cans, and then there you go.
Then there's all 20
cans. You got all 20 right there. So it feels like you're a completionist. Like if you get into something, you want to have every bit of that series. Like you've got all the comics, you've got all the cans. Yeah. What are you missing in your figure collection, would you say? Is there anything that's missing?
Oh, well, if you're talking these originals, you might not have seen this side yet.
Okay. There's more.
There's more.
Oh my gosh. Star Wars fans at home. And you even got the random coin version. These are the Ewoks ones, right?
Yeah, they like to call those the last 17. So the last 17 figures that were released were on these Power of the Force cards.
And these are exceptionally rare. Power of the Force is some of the most difficult.
Yeah, some of the hardest to get for sure. Obviously, a lot of kids weren't collecting anymore, or these came out, I think, around 85. So you're already 2 years removed from the last movie.
Right.
So, not a lot of promotion for them. And
I feel so bad because I have to admit my head. After I said I have to be careful, I'm just going to steady this. I'm so sorry. The last thing I want to do is knock one of your beautiful displays over.
That's all good. It's up there pretty good. I usually have a chair here so no one walks into it, but then it's hard to walk around.
Walk around, yeah. No, and I'm looking down here and I'm seeing all these great things. And, I was a Star Wars fan when I was a kid too. And my dad took me to Return of the Jedi at the Westmount Theater, which no longer exists. And apparently I was very frightened when Jabba the Hutt came on. And, but yet it sunk in, and I had the Ewok village and the working catapults. And I think what I loved was that the toys of that era were playable. They weren't meant to be collected. They had lots of great features.
Yeah. And honestly, I would just hours and hours just playing with my Star Wars toys. Stay out of trouble. Just, you could just build anything with them. It was just free play, right? It wasn't structured, and it was just
pre-internet.
It was had to use your creativity from your brain.
Yeah, make up little conversations between the characters, and
of course, if my younger sister was playing, so she would get Leia, Jawa would be a baby. It would be okay, yeah, you can play for a while.
Right, you'd have to put up with the storyline might shift. You've got this battle going on, then suddenly she's got Princess Leia with her baby Yoda,
baby Jawa,
Jawa with her.
Like, who is the dad?
Yeah, don't ask questions.
Yeah, no one's talking.
Well, I mean, this is, and I was sort of like, it looks like you must have every figure.
I think, was it 93 figures, something like that. I think I'm like high 60s, maybe low 70s for how many I have.
Okay.
So yeah, there's still probably I'd say around 20 of the original that I'm still looking for.
Now, did they make a Boba Fett that had a working little jetpack on the back, or a rocket that shot or something? I've heard lore or legend about this.
Yeah, it was never released at retail. But yeah, there are prototypes out there with a working, firing jetpack.
And what would something like that be worth?
Oh man, we're talking 10 grand, I think, would be probably the low end.
Right.
And depending on what it is too. But yeah, just the prototypes, definitely around 10,000 if you can find them.
Well, and anytime I come across Star Wars figures, I always try and buy them because there's so many collectors that love these sorts of things. And you've got such a beautiful collection here. Yeah,
thanks. And again, yeah, it's just like you come to a point where if I can't really display it decently, then I'm not going to just buy stuff and hoard it and put it in a closet, because if no one can see it, what's the point?
Well, I see you've got some in the closet there, but that's more like still a display.
Yeah, and you actually, you can kind of, it's all somewhat seeable.
Oh, yeah, I can see in there fine.
Yeah.
So I guess you haven't needed this as a guest room or...
No, and actually, when we first moved to this house, we were looking for a 5-bedroom, which is almost impossible to find.
Mm-hmm.
But we were lucky. So four bedrooms for the people, and then one for the Star Wars room.
That's funny, because when I walked in, your wife said, I said, I noticed that the collection hasn't really migrated to the rest of that. She said, no, he's got his space.
Yeah, nothing's made it upstairs of significance other than my Darth Vader alarm clock.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you showing us your wonderful collection. And any advice to somebody who's looking at getting into collecting something, that you tell them how to build a collection like this? Because this isn't something that happens overnight.
No, and it's just something you have to be passionate about. Something, like I said, the base of my collection was stuff I still had from when I was a kid. So just collect what you love. Don't worry about trying to get everything all at once. The fun of collecting is the hunt, really. Getting out there, talking to people. What are they seeing? What do they need? What do you need? Just have fun with it. Get in touch with the community. And yeah, once you start getting frustrated, yeah, maybe try something else. Keep it fun.
It's great to have a very understanding spouse, which you and I both have, I think.
100%. Yep.
Well,
and believe it or not, probably what we found is they even from time to time will pick something up for us.
Yeah, that's right. You never have to worry about what to get Dad for Christmas or a birthday when you've got a hobby like this.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you having us over today, and thank you again.
No problem. Thanks for coming.